Hey guys, I'm Raven, and today we are going to be going over what is a ratio, why is it useful, the calculation of ratio spreadsheets, and absolute and relative addresses. Now, some of you may be asking yourself, what is a ratio? A ratio is the relationship between two amounts of numbers and how one is relevant to the other. So this might lead you to a different question. Why are ratio spreadsheets useful? Ratio spreadsheets can be useful for a variety of different reasons. One of the first reasons being financial decisions. This can help us keep our finances on track and budget for the future. Another reason could be planning, for example, grades. You can plan ahead and see what grade you would need to get on the final or a test to achieve a certain grade point average for a class or your overall GPA. Lastly, we can use this as a performance measurement in social media. We can use this through engagement, click-through rates, and growth of followers and likes. We can also use this to interact with our followers when they're most active. We can also use polls. Now that we've covered the basics, let's go over how to calculate ratio spreadsheets. When calculating ratio spreadsheets in Excel, we use both functions and formulas to help us calculate. A few of the most common functions are GCD functions, or greatest common divisor function, substitute functions, and round functions. I will be presenting a GCD example. My example includes girls and boys ratio in a class. I'm taking the girl column, A2, and dividing it by the GCD of A2 and B2. Then, we will use the and symbol and quotation marks around a colon to combine the column B2 divided by GCD of A2 and B2 to retrieve the ratio of girls and boys. Now that the function is input in C2, whatever we change A2 and B2 to, it will calculate the ratio. Now, let's move on to absolute and relative addresses. A relative address is a type of formula where the reference cells change when the formula is applied to a different cell. You can see in the example below. An absolute address, much different from the relative address, will remain constant within every cell the formula is applied to. You can see in the example below. In my example, the students in my class were asked a variety of questions, and I will be explaining how to calculate the ratio of yes and no answers using an absolute address to calculate the percentage. In my example, 16 out of 17 students were present that day, so I'm going to put n equals 16. N represents the number of present students that day. To ensure our ratio is accurate, I will be using 16, also known as B3, divided by 17 to get 94%, because 94% of students were present that day. Now that we have our number ratio of yes or no answers, we can use a relative address to calculate the percentages for yes and no. To do this, we will select the first yes column and divide it by $B, $3 to ensure dividing by $B, $3 will stay consistent for all of our ratio equations because it is equivalent to the n value. To apply this to all the cells, we will use the fill handle feature. As I did to the yes values, I will also do to the no values, seen below. Finally, you can choose how you would like to display your results. I personally chose percentages. To show our data in a more appealing way, we can use graphs for percentages, line graphs, and charts. Here, I will select the data I want to display. Then, I will select a pie chart. You can customize your chart by editing the title and colors to your liking. Today, we learned what a ratio is, why ratio spreadsheets are useful, how to calculate ratio spreadsheets, and absolute and relative addresses. You are now a pro at ratio spreadsheets. Thanks for watching.